enjoying the nice cold weather, right? It's at the end, inshallah, right? We're almost at the end of February, so we will be, inshallah, done with it. We are very much blessed as compared to the other part of the country and other part of the world. So we should be count our blessing more than whatever else is happening in our life. We are very blessed that we have our roof in our house. We are very blessed, alhamdulillah, that we are all alive and we have a safe, we have to breathe. And according to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we have these three qualities every day when we wake up, we have the whole world. So may Allah protect us and give us all the blessing that He continuously giving it to us, and protect those who are suffering right now, and give us the tawfiq to help them. Amen. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen ar-Rahman ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Sirata allazina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. All praise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's created all of us. He is the Rahman to all the mankind. He is the Rahim to all of us. He is the Mannan who give us for and bestow His blessing to all of us continuously. He is the Ghaffar, He is the Ghafoor, He is the one who keep forgiving us. That's the name that we discussed briefly last time, that we were talking about that how forgiving the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that even though we do the mistake one after another, keep repeating the same mistake, and He's keep forgiving us. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. We started our hadith number 24 last time. We still continue on the hadith number 24. The take-home notes that we took the last time, it was what was the difference between the hadith Qudsi and the Quran. Right? We talked briefly about it. The major difference is that the Quran is the word, the kalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the meaning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a miracle. It can be challenged till the end of the time. It still is going to be proven. It is the one that we can recite and we can get the reward. And it is a mutawatir. The second thing we discussed is what was the zulm, right? What is the zulm? What does the definition of the zulm is when we move something from one place to another place, or not giving them the right of something that is belong to that right persons or that place. We talk about the three kinds of the zulm: one that is non-forgivable, the one that need to be reconciled, and then the one that is by the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, either He will forgive us or we need to recompensate for that. So does anybody remember a little bit about those zulms? The one that is not forgiving? That was a shirk, that if we do the zulm to our Creator in a way that we do not relate all of our blessing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or if we do the shirk for any way that is possible, that's a zulm is non-forgivable. And that's a zulm we need to ask the forgiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala before the angel come. The second zulm was if we do to somebody else, like if we take away the rights of our friends, our family member. And that's also need to be reconciled. We should ask the forgiveness in this world before it's too late. And the third and the last thing, if it's a minor kind, if we take the example, if we throw the garbage is supposed to be in a proper place, but we throw it in the street or outside our house, that's also the kind of the zulm. That's a typical simple example that has been mentioned in the books that we were going through. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this hadith mentioned through the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The wording is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but the meaning is from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He constantly saying Ya ibadi, Ya ibadi, Ya ibadi, and we discussed briefly what is mean by Ya ibadi. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying Ya ibadi? First is to grab our attention. Second, by the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's how He is muhatib to us. Like He's not saying oh my servant, but He's saying oh my servant. Right? So So we need to understand that the endearment, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how He's talking to us. Now, today, inshallah, we will try to cover the few more parts of this hadith. It's a very comprehensive hadith. When you get bored, stop me. We'll stop right away. We have a breakfast already started working on it. So inshallah, we will have a good breakfast today. So the today take-homes note will be the guidance. First, the guidance, the istighfar and tawbah. These are the three things we're going to talk about today, inshallah. So the guidance is a blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is in Surah Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it, that it is a blessing from the Allah to whom He guided. Right? The guidance is a cycle, it's a chain reaction. It's a 4 steps according to the scholars that has to be there in order to be guided. So what are the 4 steps? What are those steps? What do you guys think about it? I want to be a little bit interactive so you guys don't get sleepy or bored. But it's not a test, it's not like, it's just like sharing the information. That's all it is. So the guidance is a 4-step process, right? First, we need to have the intention to be guided. Like, yes, we always ask in Surah Fatiha, Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim, that, oh Allah, guide us to the path which you have bestowed the mercy, right? So that's not just like we read it with our tongue, with our lisan, but we need to feel it in our heart, and we have to have a pure intention of being guided. We need to ask the dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the second step, that constantly asking the dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, guide me. Oh Allah, guide me. Oh Allah, guide us, guide our nation, guide our family, guide our friends, guide our kids. The third thing, after doing these two, the very important step to seek the guidance. And how to seek the guidance is through the Quran. We have the full Quran. Allah Kalam is there, written for all of us. It's a full GPS to the Jannah. The full guide is there. We need to use it. And now the Ramadan is coming up. We are already end of the Rajab. The Shaban is right here. We need to start practicing reading little by little. Start from now, because we want to be prepared for the Ramadan. We need to get ready for the Ramadan. So when the marathon comes, we always practice ahead of time. So when the Ramadan comes, inshallah, we will be prepared. That's the third step of the guidance. And always ask the guidance from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So guidance, we talk about all the 4 steps. And not only just to ask the guidance, when the guidance comes, apply to it. When you get the knowledge, use it for your benefit. Knowledge is the kind of a treasure that when you share is never reduced. So if you have $100 and your friend asks the money, you give the $10, but you have left only $90, right? The only treasure in this world is the one that when you share is never decreased, but it increased, is the knowledge. So Ibn Rajab, Ibn Taymi, all the previous big scholars compare that. When we will discuss that part also of this hadith, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that if all of us combine together from the jinn and ins, and we all ask whatever we want, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give all of those to us, it's not going to decrease even a little bit in his blessing, or the one that he owns. So they compare it, how the man can comprehend that is with the example of the knowledge. That when you share your knowledge is never reduced, but it's increased or it's remained the same. So that was the first lesson that we should be learning. Let's go back to the hadith. So we discussed about the Allah by itself saying through the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that I have forbidden the wrongdoing. We discussed that. Then we discussed about the guidance. Oh my servant, all of you are lost except for those whom I have guided. So why do we need a guidance? And there are few people Or sometimes it happens to us then that we ask the guidance, and we never feel like we've been guided. Right? It happens to all of us, and I think it's basically is the sincerity. And sometimes we formulate the guidance according to what we want to be guided, not what the real guidance is. So we pick and choose the guidance. So we have to be very careful on that. We have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide it properly and give us the knowledge so we can see the right guidance. The second part after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was mentioning that if you need to ask, all of us are hungry, and if we need the food, we need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our food. Now, when we ask about the food, the guidance that if you see the first part of the hadith, it was the guidance that was the food of our soul or our spirit. Now he's talking about our physical need. That's our food that we need, and that's also we should ask to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for every single thing. Even though we are, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with the money, Allah has blessed us with the job, Allah has blessed us with the car, with the sehat that we can go and get the grocery, we still need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah, provide us the good nourishment, the halal nourishment all the time for us and for our families. Ibn Rajab and Sheikh Ibn Taymiyya mentioned that again there how to ask the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how to get the food also, right? One is the dua, and second the action. The action means do the righteous deed in order to get the rizq halal and to barakah in our rizq, that we need to do the righteous deed. And we need to act on it too. So we cannot expect to be increase in our rizq without learning and doing the hard work, right? So I keep asking the dua, Allah, increase my rizq, but I'm not working for it. That's not what Allah wants. Allah wants us to work. So He provides us the seed, but we need to dig into a ground and put the water and dua, right? So you need to do the work for it in order to get it. We discussed Allah named Al-Khaliq, right? He's the one who created all of us. He created all of us different from each other. Let's take the example in the food, right? By constantly Allah saying, oh my servant, He creating the relationship between the master as well as the slave, that how much we are in need with him, right? The same ground, same seed, same water. Some of them will grow, some of them will not. Who's responsible? That's Al-Khaliq. That's the Malik, right? That's the master of us. Then the same plant grow, every single fruits are different. The tastes are different. That is Al-Khaliq. That's our master. That's kind of a relationship we need to develop from that. Like the same country can have the one side of the country has those kind of a fruit, but that fruit cannot grow on the other side, right? That is in the control of Allah subhanahu. There is so much to talk about the food that we are at 13 minutes, so we have a little bit more time. After that, this hadith goes towards about the forgiveness. Let's go to that part. I divide this hadith into a small segment, so we read it and then go over with the explanation. That's what my teachers and my imams have recommended me. Sometimes when the hadith is too long, to focus on the whole hadith is a little harder. So, O my servant, all of you are hungry except for those whom I have fed. Therefore seek food from me and I will feed you. O my servant, all of you are naked except for those whom I have clothed. So therefore seek clothing from me and I will clothe you. Okay, I did not discuss the clothing part. So clothing is a spiritual also, and it is a physical also. The physical clothing, we are all clothed pretty well, alhamdulillah, and we are subconsciously try and to be always clothed, right? We don't want to go out or in front of anybody, even in front of the mirror. The spiritual clothing that ulamas are talking about is the taqwa. by having a taqwa, we spiritually cover ourselves. And when we do the sin, the taqwa rip off layer by layer. So we need to be very careful and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the tawfiq to avoid the sin. So when we ask the clothing, we ask to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, it's the same thing. We need to ask and we need to do the action in order to get that. Then we go to the third part of the hadith where he's talking about, "O my servant, you sin by night and by day, and I forgive all the sin." Let's finish it up over here. And we just discussed that part. Inshallah, the next part we're going to continue later. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now describing his another characteristics. So till now he was talking about, I will give you this, I will give you this, I will give you this, O my servant. Now he's talking about how Ghafur, how Rahim he is, that he will forgive. Even though we do the sin every day, every night, every second we do the sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive us. So what is the difference between the istighfar and the tawbah? What I understand, the istighfar and the tawbah, what I learned is, istighfar is you ask the forgiveness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, astaghfirullah, right? It's not take away the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will delay the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's good that we do astaghfirullah, 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 that's very good. If we do the sin, we do the astaghfirullah, Allah will delay the sin, delay the punishment of that sin. But it's the tawbah that wipe off your sin. So that's what we need to do. We need to do the proper tawbah to make sure this sin that we did is wiped off and we do not be responsible for that act. So what are the steps of the tawbah? So there are 6 steps in order to do this, do the proper tawbah. First, we have to stop the sin immediately. Whatever the sin, small or the big, whatever we have done, we have to have a true niyyah in our heart that we stop. The intention is there, we stop the sin, we should have the remorse or regret in our heart. The believer heart is always regret whenever we do the sin. That we remorse, oh my God, what I did, oh Allah forgive me, oh Allah, I will never do that. These are the basic 3 steps that we should all have. Then if we take somebody else right, if I cheat to somebody, I need to give it back to him, his right. So what are the things we need to do? We need to stop the sin right away. We need to have the intention not to do it. We should have the remorse in our heart that why we did that. And if we take away somebody right, we give it back to them. And all this thing that we are doing it just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the 5th thing, most important thing that we need to be constantly thinking in our mind. That's what we are doing it, that just for the sake of Allah ta'ala. Not because I want to get a better relationship between me and you, not because I want to get higher standard or higher status in my community or in my job. It's just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last, the most important thing, we should all ask the tawbah before the time ends. Before the time ends for ourselves, like when the angel of death comes, before that we have to get all the tawbah, ask tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And or Prophet Muhammad said the tawbah door is still open till the angel of death come, or either if the person lived till the time when the sunrise comes. So before the day of judgment. So may Allah give us the tawfiq to wipe up all, to ask the forgiveness and to get the tawbah accepted from the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and give us guidance, give us the cloth, give us the food, the halal food, and guide all of us and our generations and help those who are in need all across the world.